Okay, so we're going to start part 2 of the review. We're going to try to get through as much, as much as we really have time for. We'll see how much progress we can make. But I do want to go over some questions that I'm getting from the homework last night, numbers 1 through 15. So let's do number 5. All right, number 5, I got a lot of questions on. Let's see here. Number 5, we had negative 1/3 times 9x minus 12. And equals 4 minus 4x. And this is in the special equation. What? This is in the special equation section, so my answer might be no solution or infinite. All right, so negative 1/3 times 9x is negative 3x. Negative 1/3 times 12 is positive 4. Equals 4 minus 4x. All right, now, my challenge is that I have variables on both sides of the equation. So I need to move one or the other. What I've told you in the past is to move the smaller value of the two so you don't end up with a negative variable. So if you add 4x to the left side, that means you need to move your numbers to the right side, okay? So negative 3 plus 4 is 1x equals, what is 4 minus 4? 0. X equals 0. Okay? The only time your answer is no solution or infinite solution is if your variable cancels out. You can have a number value of 0, okay? If your variables cancel, that's when it's no solution and infinite solution, okay? We had some questions on number 7. 14x plus 33x plus 13x equals 180. All right, so what we're saying is that these three angle measures together equal 180. I have a lot of people that stopped right here at this answer, x equals 3. Now, while that's true, that's not my answer because it says find the angle measures. Well, the angle measures are not 3. X is 3, and now I have to plug that back in for each angle. Okay? So 14 times 3, 33 times 3, and 13 times 3 gives me 42, 99, and 39. And if you were to add all of those together, it does equal 180. Okay? Another question I'm getting is number 11. Number 11, if they're similar, you can set up a proportion. You must set up a proportion on this problem in order to solve. So for the smaller triangle, we have 4 over 16. For the larger triangle, we have 7 over some number that we don't know. So now we can do cross products to solve and get 4x equals 112 and divide both sides by 4 and x equals 28. Okay, so make sure you have a proportion for number 11. And then 14 and 15, I'm not going to redo them, but just remember that your polygons, well actually I will do number 15. Okay, on 14 and 15, I've seen so many people put the total being 180. Like literally they'll say y plus 88 plus 145 plus 110. Do you think all these angles add up to 180? No. Okay, we've got to use some common sense here, guys. Plus 91 plus 150. And we also know that you can't have a negative angle measure. So all of these numbers have to be lower than the total. Well, this is a 6-sided figure. What is the sum of the angle measures of a 6-sided figure? 720 degrees. And when you add all of them together, what did you get? Y plus 584 equals 720. Subtract 584 from both sides. and you get y equals 136 degrees. Okay, and that's number 15. All right, so those are just some questions that were, kind of came up. We will make sure that we go back probably Thursday or Friday, make sure you have all the correct answers. But now we need to kind of shift gears over to numbers 16 through 30 and start working through some of those problems. Guys, how are you doing on 16? Is everybody done with 16? Yes. Is everybody finished? Okay, so in order for triangles to be similar, their angle measures must be the same. All right, so when you do on number 16, when you do 44 plus 52 plus x equals 180, that's 96 plus x equals 180. Subtract 96, and x equals 84, okay? So you actually now have all the information you need to determine if the triangles are similar, okay? So for triangle A, I'm going to list it this way. So for triangle A, what are my angle measures? 52, 44, and what? X. And 84, okay? For triangle B, which ones do I know? 52 and 84, okay? Well, you know that both triangles have to add up to 180. These three angles add up to 180. So what my rule says is if two of the angles match up, 52 and 84, that means that the third angle has to be 44. It cannot be any other measure. If it's any other measure, it's not going to add up to 180. Okay? So I don't have to solve in an equation for angle B. I can use the fact that two of the angles are the same to make the presumption that my third angle is also the same. So yes, these triangles are similar. You say, well, what work do I need? You need your equation here that you solved for x. Okay? You do not have to show me this part, but I wanted to put it on your review so you could see why they're similar and why you don't have to solve for the unknown measure of b. All right, let's look at 17. Okay, on number 17, you have the equation 6x plus 3y equals 15. It says to graph it. Well, the first question you're supposed to ask yourself is the equation ready to graph? No. No, it's not. What do I need to do to get it ready to graph?
You need to move x to the other side.
You've got to solve for which variable? Y. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Okay, so solving for y, what do I do first? Subtract 6x, both sides. And now I get 3y equals, which term do I write first? The x term. Negative 6x plus 15. Now what do I do? Divide everything by 3. Guys, if there's, you might struggle on different parts of the test, but this part I feel like we have done literally since like the first week of school, okay? Solving for y. So hopefully it's getting to the point where it's automatic. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2x plus 5. Now put it on your graph. Okay? There's going to be 2 points that you can use slope and y-intercept. Go ahead and put it on your graph. So where does your first point go on the graph? Where would your first point go?
On 5 on the y.
I would go to the y-axis and I would go up to a 5. And then where would I go from there? Down to over 1. Okay, so on a quick sketch, which we're not going to, kind of do this like officially, but just to show you, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we go up to a y value of 5. And that's where our first point would go. And then our slope tells us that we go down to over 1 for our second point. That's where we plot it, and we draw our line through it, and that's how we graph it. Okay, so is that roughly what yours looked like? on your graph paper. Okay, so now let's look at number 18. Number 18 looks pretty similar to number 17. Would you agree? It looks pretty similar, except the directions, guys. The directions. Graph the linear equation using x and y intercepts. Negative 2x minus 4y equals, and I'm going to change this to an 8. Because if I don't, my x-intercept will be off the grid. So negative 2x minus 4y equals 8. All right. Why did I write the equation twice for this one, Ethan? I have to solve one for x and I have to solve one for y. One for x and one for y. Okay, so the first equation I'm solving for x. Well, if I want to solve for x, what do I plug in for y? If I want to solve for x, 0. If I want to solve for y, what do I plug in for x? 0. All right, so on the first one, negative 2x minus 4 times 0 equals 8. Well, what's 4 times 0? 0. Cancels out. So to solve for x, I need to divide both sides by negative 2, and x equals negative 4. All right, so what is my ordered pair for my x-intercept? What's the ordered pair for my x-intercept? X equals, negative 4, and then what's my y value? 0, because that's what I plugged in. If x is negative 4, my y is 0. All right, now you go ahead and solve for y. All right, so for the y-intercept, I plug in 0 for x, so that's going to cancel. Negative 2 times 0 just cancels out. Divide both sides by negative 4, and y equals negative 2. So what's going to be my ordered pair for y? 0, negative 2. Okay, now on the graph, when you graph this, okay, you've got your x and your y, okay, you follow each ordered pair to plot your point, okay, so you go over to negative 4, 0, plot your point, and 0, negative 2, plot your point, and draw your line. All right, that's 18. What about 19? How am I going to write an equation of the line? How would I do that? Well, to write an equation of the line, you need a slope and you need a y-intercept. Does the graph tell you that information?
Yes.
Okay, so I want you to do your best on that one. Okay, so we're going to finish 19. I'll check it tomorrow. I just don't want to like do every single problem for you before you have a chance to work on it. Number 20, guys, it's the same type of situation, except now it's an ordered pair. Okay, so for 19 and 20, we will go over it tomorrow, but I want to give you time to, actually work on that, but I want to at least give you a hint. Okay, so for 19, you're plugging it into y equals mx plus b, but you need to tell me what's the slope, so look at the points on the graph, and you need to count. Okay, what's your rise and what's your run? That's your slope. And then where does it cross the y-axis? That's going to be your b. All right, on number 20, you're using the ordered pairs. Can you use any of them?
No.
You can't just use any of them. They have to be back-to-back ordered pairs. Now, if I were you, I would choose the ordered pair that has a what?
0.
0 for x, okay? So 21 is going to be point slope form. Now going to the next page, we've got our systems, okay? There is a typo. It wasn't a typo. Microsoft Word in the formatting, it kept messing up the columns, and I kept redoing it, and then it still messed up. So the substitution one is x plus 4y equals negative 1, and negative 3x minus 14 equals y. That is number 23. Number 24 is system off to the right. 3y plus 3 equals 2x, and 3y plus 6 equals x. All right, and for both of these, your answers will be whole numbers. All of the numbers will be whole numbers. There will be no decimals. All right, so try to work through those. And number 25, your solution could be 1, none, or infinite. Okay, you can use whichever method you want on 25, and on 26 through 30, that's your scatter plot, your review from chapter 6. All right, so this hopefully has given you a really good jump start on what your homework is tonight. Tomorrow you have 16 through 30 due.